less than a year on into the industry of being a personal trainer, I had someone comment something on a website, on my website, sorry, anonymously, and they wrote some pretty horrible stuff. They were like, "Oh, how can you be a personal trainer? You're not aesthetic in any way." So meaning that I'm not appealing, like looking, my body doesn't look good or whatever in any way. So how can I help other people? That's what they wrote. And then I didn't reply, obviously, I didn't bite. And then I think it was like 2 weeks later, they went, "Answer me, you fat cunt."
Oh yeah. My God.
Welcome to the Stronger, Fitter, Happier podcast. I'm your host Vin, and today I am joined by my co-hosts Sadie and Nikhil. So we are going to be having a little chat, just bringing up some topics that are on everyone's mind at this time of year, I guess. But first, let's just ask you guys how you guys are doing. So what's going on? What's going on in your lives? How are you? Everything
go for
okay?
it, Sadie. You go first.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, all going good with me. Yeah, not much really. I'm back into the routine of work now. Training is finally going. I've only done one session of training yet, so I shouldn't get too excited. But
first session of the year. Everyone's posting like on New Year's Day, got my workout in.
Trust me, yeah. I feel embarrassed.
Really? Why?
Do you know what? Like, I think because being in the fitness industry, and obviously all our members are already like in a good routine of training, and I'm literally only just finding that kind of now. You know what it is? It's like, obviously being a personal trainer, being a coach, it's kind of like people expect you to kind of have your shit together. Like, do you know what I mean? So yeah, I felt a little bit embarrassed mentioning it and putting it out there, but do you know what? It is what it is. Yeah, and I'm back on track now.
That's good. I mean, I don't think you should be embarrassed.
Yeah, no, but it's just how I feel, isn't it, really? But I wanted to kind of put it out there because I even had a couple of messages actually, and people saying, "Oh, you are human," and I want people to know that and understand that as well. So
this is the thing. Like, I think a lot of this is not what we were going to talk about today, but a lot of personal trainers make this mistake of not being relatable to like, I say normal people, like we're not normal, but what I mean is like people who aren't personal trainers is when I say normal people. We don't come across relatable, and that's our own fault because we talk about on our like social media and things like that, or to our members, maybe not to our members, but to people on social media, they only see a small percentage of our life, and all they see is fitness, especially you, Sadie. Fitness, going on a walk. Like, the content that we post is all about staying healthy, eating well, or like motivating other people and that sort of thing. And then they don't see like that. I only got into working out yesterday as well. That was my first workout in about 3 weeks or 4 weeks, so well before Christmas. And that's not even because like I was demotivated or anything. It's just because I didn't have time. Like, I literally haven't had time. My partner's been unwell. Like, it's just one of those things that I had to push off. I just said that right now it's probably it's not a priority, and I had to put it off. But
yeah,
I never shared that, and not that I have to. I don't have to share my whole life. Yeah. But then when people say like, "Oh, don't want to work out with you as a trainer," and stuff like that, like, you seem intimidating and you don't seem relatable, that's why.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think you made a point to me a few weeks ago, Vinay, and that's why I thought actually I wanted to share it and put it out there just so that I can like, it's something I'm trying to work on right now, especially with my own social media, but I am trying to kind of come across to people like I am relatable and I can understand where people are coming from. Well, the thing is,
there's no point trying to come across that. Just be yourself.
No, not trying.
Yeah.
No, that's what I mean. Like, I shouldn't have to try. Like, do you know what I mean? So I don't post the bad things, and I don't always post the things like when I'm not training or when my nutrition's rubbish. So I am trying to show it. Basically, I'm trying to show it a little bit more.
Yeah. Like, if someone was to look at your Instagram, they would just think that all you do in your free time is exercise or work out.
That's really not the case. Yeah. What about you, Nikhil? Yeah, go for it.
I'm okay. First week of the new year is down. I've been similar to you guys. So my training hasn't been great if we're talking about that at the moment. I mean, I've trained a little bit more than both of you by the sounds of it. So, but no, I've sort of got back into the swing of it, so to speak. You know, I took a little bit time off during the Christmas period. And as we ended the last lockdown, I think we had a lockdown we had a lockdown in November. By the end of the lockdown, I was done with home workouts. I was out, the gym's coming, you know, I'll just wait a week, 10 days, whatever. So didn't do anything then. Gyms opened up for about 2 weeks or so. And then we're just sort of back into sort of tier 4 going into a lockdown. So since then I haven't, but now I'm kind of seeing it as the new norm maybe, and just not focusing on whether my preferred method of training and my preferred environment is going to come back. And I'm just going to do the best with what I can and not strive for perfection, so to speak.
It's a good way to be.
Yeah.
Live in the moment.
Yeah. And you know what? Doing something is better than doing nothing. I know it's cliche, but like doing something at home is better than trying to sort of wait 6 weeks for the best workout ever in the gym, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm a bit like you actually, Nico. I think we had that conversation. We were kind of both kind of holding on to the hope of the gym opening again.
Yeah.
And that's why I did as well, honestly, put off my training, because I thought, actually, it's going to come. I can go back to the gym. That's fine. I'll just wait. Now I've come to realize, actually, that's not going to happen for a while. So, yeah, I'm just trying to make the best out of the shitty situation, really.
Yeah. It's the best way to be if you want to actually make any progress this year. If you keep focusing on like waiting for the right time or waiting for things to be the way you want them to be rather than dealing with reality, then you're not going to get very far.
Very true.
Yeah, there's I think I came across in a book that I'm listening to, literally just finished it today, actually, this morning. It's I mentioned it on the last episode, which we haven't even put out yet. It's called Essentialism, and there's two. I think they're Greek gods or deities or something like that. Anyway, of time, and one is, I've just googled it. That's what I was doing when you guys were talking. It's one is Chronos and the other is Kairos. I think Chronos is like more a quantitative, like time measure. And Kairos is more a qualitative time measure, and like Chronos is almost like the past and the future, and like thinking about how things have been, and then and like maybe how the future is going to be, and worrying about that. And being like Kairos is living in the moment and dealing with now and just trying to do what's essential or what's like what you need to get on with to progress. And if you're in like looking back or looking towards the future and waiting or like dwelling over how the last year ruined your fitness, this year is going to be the same. You're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to move forward. You're not going to progress. So yeah, it's a really good point to pick up. And saying that, today I wanted to bring up motivation. And like this time of year, we spoke about on the last episode, our motivation is at an all-time high for most people. But that's not the case for everyone. Like some people are a bit more like you were, Sadie, a few days ago, lacking in a bit of motivation, lacking in a bit of drive, just struggling to get on it.
Yeah.
What would you say to people who are struggling with motivation at the moment? How would you get someone motivated? Because that's what people wait for, don't they? Like, I've been doing this in the fitness industry. This month marks my 10th year of being in the fitness industry. And that's one of the biggest reasons people have given me over the 10 years, aside from like not being able to get on it with food, that's why they haven't achieved their goals.
They lack motivation.
Yep.
Yeah. And do you know what? So if going from, do you want me to answer the question now?
Yeah, like go on.
I think what I could say that really worked for me is starting to get a bit more positive. So obviously I was seeing the kind of new year with the lockdown and everything like that, not having kind of set New Year's resolutions and whatever. I was seeing it as kind of all a negative and being a bit of a Debbie Downer. I kind of then saw it on the flip side and started to get more positive. And I noticed as soon as I started to kind of change my mindset and kind of focus on being a little bit more positive, then a little bit more motivation started to come. So I was feeling a little bit shitty and kind of crappy about the situation. As soon as I tried to get a little bit kind of positive and happier and focus on the positive things, I definitely started to become a little bit more motivated. So I think my first tip would definitely be try and be a bit more positive. Also, setting kind of goals and like mini targets. So for me, the training, nutrition, just getting going and kind of getting on it, I didn't have anything I was working towards. So I wasn't kind of taking action, so to speak. So what I did is I just set myself some like little mini targets that I can work on each week, but then also have a bit of like a long-term goal that I'm also working towards as well. So yes, I think setting kind of targets and goals is another way that you can kind of get motivated as well.
100%. If you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get very far. Like, so that is the number one place to start, I guess, for someone who hasn't done that. Set some goals. What if you have set goals and you're still not feeling motivated? What would you say to someone?
Kind of give yourself, like, track your progress. So whatever it may be, say for example you're trying to get a certain amount of sessions in, or you want a certain weight loss goal or nutrition or whatever, start to just track your progress along the journey. But also I did have a point and it was coming to me. Give yourself some incentive. So like give yourself a little bit of incentive to kind of keep you going and keep you motivated as well.
Okay, well, what do you mean by that? Like, what sort of incentive?
Like little, like for yourself, for example. Say, for example, 1 week that you've managed to kind of do your sessions that you want to do, stick to your nutrition targets, give yourself like a little reward at the end of the week. So, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of like a little reward or incentive now that you could use, but give me a moment and I'll get back to you.
Nico, do you have anything to add to that? Like, so someone's got a goal, someone's set targets. What's going to get someone motivated to keep going and driving forward?
So, assuming that like this is them just by themselves wanting to do something, and they're just lacking motivation, right? I know again it's cliche and we speak about it quite a lot on the podcast. We probably have in previous, but ask yourself what it is that you want to achieve. I guess that goes along with the goals, but rather than having sort of goals that are set in stone in terms of like, I want to work out 3 times a week, I want to get my nutrition right and things like that. I mean, like a bigger picture goal can often work. Those are the process goals, right? But what is the motivation? What do you want to achieve at the end of the day? Why are you trying to improve yourself, and what will it mean for your life? Often that little pep talk can often maybe flip the tables a little bit and sort of get you started. But then I also believe that motivation is like almost like a loop. Like, yes, it doesn't last forever, but once you get started, you see like some results. Those results then motivate you again. So then you keep going, you see more results, then you back into the beginning of having your So it's like almost a cycle, but getting into that cycle requires that initial push, which again is the hardest bit to get yourself into that cycle.
Yeah, I was going to bring up something similar, like, of that as well. So, going back to what you just said about the why first, and then we'll come back to what you just said, definitely get on it with getting a why. Like, without a strong why, you probably won't achieve stuff. Like, but a lot of people then even have a strong why. They have goals, they know what they're trying to achieve. They have a strong enough strong enough reason for pushing them to do it. But they still seem to struggle to achieve any goals, or, you know, like get some momentum going and motivation to do anything and take action. And what you just said there is a brilliant way to get motivated. Often people think, like, say you've spoken about this before on like a video that you've done. I just sent out an email about it, but it's like Nikhil said about building momentum. It's almost like a cycle. But people think motivation comes first in that cycle. And I think taking action comes first in that cycle. So if you take action, what will then happen is, like, you then get motivated from the action you've taken. Yeah, because definitely. You've built some sort of momentum. Like, I've spoken about it many times about, I'm not one to go like, I'm there ready to work out and I'm gearing to go for a session all the time, because I'm like, obviously I like training, I like exercise and things like that, but the times I'm most motivated, the 2 times, is when I'm in most amount of pain from not working out. So, for example, we went on a walk over the weekend, and my daughter asked me to pick her up and put her on a wall. And I used to do it at ease. Obviously, she was very young. Like, she was lighter. She's gained weight because she's grown. So when I went to do it, I struggled to push her up. And it was probably more to do with her becoming a bit heavier, but also because I haven't been training in like 3-4 weeks or whatever it's been. So I was like, oh, now I'm like ready to go after a workout. So that was a motivating point for me, but that's just something that happened, you know, by chance. Like, it's not something you can fake. But the other time that I'm most motivated is when I'm working out. So not even before on the way to the gym or anything like that. Literally when I've started already, because I've already built up that momentum to start.
Yeah.
So in the workout, I'm not going to quit. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm already started. I'm going to finish this. And that's the most, out of all the times of like in between workouts, that's the most motivated I'm at during the session. Yeah. So when you think like that, like you have to get yourself to that point, because you've then created that motivation now. Because I've like today I trained already, so tomorrow I'm ready to continue now. I'm ready to do it again. I'm ready to feel that high. I'm ready to feel that feeling. If you never get to that point, you're not gonna feel motivated. You're not gonna feel ready to carry on. So definitely agree with you about that loop and you know, creating momentum. But it's often easy for people like me and you, or people who have done it before, or who have built up momentum in the past, because we know what it takes to build that momentum again. It's not that difficult. And also that because like we have a bigger incentive, like we have to set an example, we're role models to members, to people we train, things like that. But what if someone who hasn't worked out before, what if this is their first time exercising and there is a bigger obstacle to climb, there's a bigger challenge, or maybe it's not their first time exercising, but their past is not exactly set the best, you know, they haven't got results in the past, they haven't succeeded, they want to do it again, but they're not able to build that motivation to take action. What would you say to someone like that?
I'm going off the example that this person has tried and failed in the past, and the methods that they've used in the past have potentially always been extreme. And I think what a lot of people fail to realize, that at the start, just do the bare minimum that's enjoyable, and that will get you building momentum. So I think nowadays, especially with like the hyper social media and stuff, you're seeing all of these fancy workouts like HIIT training this and like all of these different things, and it can be quite overwhelming for someone who's been there and failed in the past, and they automatically think that this is what I need to do to get in shape or to improve my health, but I can't do it. This is scary for me. There's no way that I can do this HIIT workout. Like, I'll be dead at the end of it. But potentially having the realization that you don't have to go all guns blazing, and just doing something very simple to start with to build the momentum can make a difference in that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think starting off easy and starting off small and all these things are brilliant ways to get someone started. But often what happens is people don't want to start because they don't know that. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like someone who's not had success you've had, Nikhil, with training, and realizing that just going for a walk every day compared to not going for a walk every day is going to lead to some sort of positive benefit to their fitness, to their health, and possibly even to their like kind of body goals of weight loss and things like that as well. They don't understand that simply just maybe managing their calorie intake rather than worrying about what time they're eating and things like that, because they don't have the knowledge you have. What I think people often it's not what that's holding them back, but sometimes we see it a lot is they've got a history of failure. So what happens is people's self-belief is lacking. Do you get what I mean? Like there's so many things that you guys are, you know, you're confident in working out. This is your forte. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're confident in eating well. So it's easy to, you know, for us to sit like now and talk about it and give advice to other people. But think of something that you're not necessarily, not that you're not good at, something you're not an expert in. Just give me one example.
Maths.
Actually, do you know what? Even a better example than that would be, Sadie, is what we were talking about with, before we jumped on the podcast. I spoke to the guys and I said, oh, you guys need to talk more on the podcast. I feel like I talk throughout the whole thing. Like when I go to edit, I'm like, oh my God, again, I'm literally just going on and on and on. People are going to get sick of it. Like they probably want to hear more of you two. But
yeah, so
what were you saying? What did you say?
So so Vinay sent me and Nico a message saying, guys, I need you guys to speak more and take kind of more lead. And I think that's actually one thing that I don't see myself really good at, is kind of talking and taking charge on things like that. Vinay, it just kind of comes naturally to you, it seems, even if it might not. It seems like it's easy for you to do. But yeah, I definitely, like, once I'm in the flow of it and kind of someone else takes charge, I kind of relax and I get into it. But I must admit, I find it quite hard to kind of be that person in kind of speaking and being in charge and kind of with that. So yeah, that is quite hard for me.
Yeah. And why do you feel that is? Like, aside
I think maybe a confidence thing. I'm definitely like, even though depending on what we're doing, I always find like, and you guys know, I always get quite anxious and kind of, am I going to, like, what are we going to talk about? Like, like, and I kind of work things up in my head quite a lot. And the reason I don't like kind of speaking is I don't feel like I'm maybe as confident as maybe what you are, Vinay, with these kind of things.
Yeah. And I think people feel like that. Do you get what I mean? They don't feel confident because they've not done it before. They haven't built up loads of momentum. They haven't got lots of experience in it. And they lack belief in themselves. Like when you think, like, if you lack belief in yourself about doing a podcast, it's because you haven't done it lots and lots and lots of times. Yeah. You haven't done loads of speaking to a camera, or you haven't done loads of speaking to loads of people. I'm not saying I have, but I've probably done a bit more than you two have in terms of like talking to a camera. I've got lots of feedback from it. Like the first video I put out had lots of positive feedback. It was probably the best thing that could have happened because it made me want to do it again. And then I did it again and the same thing happened. Got lots of positive feedback, quite a few views, and it carried on. And then the momentum died off. Like people saw it was new and it was something that a lot of people weren't doing with videos and things like that. But it died off. But because of that positive reinforcement that I had so early on in the journey, I carried it on and I didn't care about like comments and views and things like that. Like that feeling of helping people made me want to carry on. The people who haven't exercised before, haven't experienced, Nico, what you've experienced of like the euphoria you get after a workout. Or maybe they have, but they haven't experienced the other benefits that potentially, like, you know, when they've gone through a rough bit of health and seeing that their fitness is really good and it made it easier for them to transition out of that. That sort of thing. Or, you know, like they haven't changed their body yet. So they don't know what it feels like to feel confident, to have that change and feeling like they can accomplish anything now and that sort of thing. Yeah. You know, they've only experienced failure. So that lack of self-belief can often hold people back from going for it. How would you say like you can build that lack of self-belief so that they can find it easier to build momentum and create motivation through action?
I think one thing that people can definitely that may help with that is surrounding yourself with people that are on not the same journey as you, but like-minded people. So sometimes when you surround yourself, and we know this from the members that we have, like when they join like a community of people, that it definitely strives a bit more kind of self-belief and motivation in themselves. So I think getting, whether or not you kind of family members, partners, a group of people that are doing the same thing as you or want to do the same thing as you. I think, surrounding yourself with people that are in the same boat as you or trying to be in the same boat as you can really, really help motivate as well. I'm
glad you said that. Like, especially about our team, like it's one of the biggest benefits of having such a positive community that we've built is it really, like when you see a new member come in who's a bit shy, who's a bit out there, like comfort zone and things like that, the other members really do make them feel welcome and make them feel more motivated because they've got positive feedback, positive reinforcement, supportive people around them. Normally, like, you do something like this on your own, it's quite lonesome. But even if you get a trainer, like, the only person telling you can do this is your trainer. And sometimes, even that's great, but you're like, oh, it's easy for you, like, because they're not, while they're relatable, they almost feel like they're better than you, even though they're not. They may not be. But like, when you look at our own coaches that we've got that, maybe write our own program, you go to them for a level of expertise and things like that, and you potentially look at them as someone who's more ahead of you in the industry than you are yourself, and you look at them as like a role model. So when they're telling you to do some certain things, that you're like, oh, it comes so easy to that person, or do you get what I mean? Whereas to you, you're like, oh, like, it's a bit harder. So when you put yourself in those shoes, that's how someone else is feeling. And having people on the same level playing field, like, even if they're ahead of them in their journey, they're ahead of them in their journey. They're not someone who's unrelatable. They were once where that person was. They were someone who was just starting. So having them say, you can do this is a positive thing.
Yeah.
And people who haven't had that in their life from their partners, from their mums and dads, teachers, things like that, like, they will lack that self-belief massively. So if you listen to this and you're like, oh yeah, that's me, like, I don't really have people around me, surround yourself, like Sadie's saying, with people who will make you feel like high and motivated and things like that. And it doesn't have to be a paid group like us. Like, there's Facebook groups, there's communities that are out there, loads of people who you can find things now, the internet, watching people's videos, listen to podcasts like this, loads of things. Any other ways that you say you could, like, build self-belief? How would you build it up? Silence. I think, Nikki, was something you said, just to kind of bring it back up again, is about the small wins. Like, you mentioned it earlier. I think that's a really good way. Like, would you be able to expand on that?
Yeah, so just knowing that you can maybe tick off small things a day, small tasks, breaking things down into more doable chunks, it just gives you a little bit more self-belief and a bit more of the can-do attitude. Like, I can do this if I want to put my mind to it, rather than it seeming this big daunting thing. So yeah, definitely celebrating small wins, and not, of course, the end goal to have the best health, or I don't know, whatever it is great. But yeah, just like for you, for example, if we take the putting your daughter onto or lifting your kids up, for example, that's the end goal. You want to be able to play with your kids and lift your kids up. But a small win in between that could be, bringing the shopping bags into the house from the car boot without it feeling a struggle, and then sort of building up to that. So that would be a small win, and sort of working your way up to it.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I had an easy way to get, like, a very practical example of this is, like, say someone who's trying to run, just build that. Going out for a run is a very challenging thing for someone who's never run before. There's the issues of, like, worrying about what people think of you when you're on the road, when cars are driving past. Like, there's the worry of, like, are you going to hurt yourself? Are you good enough? Can you do it? Like, it's going to hurt you. It's going to feel uncomfortable. So something like building it into your day is a really good way. Like, a small win, for example, for someone who's trying to build up running is, I did it with dropping off my daughter to nursery. I started with a walk. I started with, like, just because my steps are really low, I started walking around the block back to my car before I walked, rather than going straight back to the car. So I walked around the block, and then I used to go to the car. Then I thought, oh, do you know what? It takes 10 minutes out of my day to build, like, 1,000 steps or whatever. I thought, I'm going to run this. And I did it in, obviously, like, a lot shorter. More than half the time, I got the same amount of steps. And because I thought, but I have the time. So I thought I'd do 3 laps of the park now. And build momentum like that, and build small wins like that. Like, don't make it such a big thing that I have to work out today. A 5 minutes of activity, if you're doing nothing, is a slow step towards a full workout. You can count that as your workout if you wanted to. when I wasn't training, because of time and because of so much shit going on, because of lockdown and trying to, like, most parents are probably feeling the same way I am, like childcare, homeschooling. I don't have to homeschool, which is good. My daughter's still in nursery, so nurseries are open. But for those of you homeschooling, then have a full-time job, and then maybe other little ones running around the house who aren't maybe at nursery or whatever, there's a lot to do to add exercise onto a really heavy plate already. Make exercise something slightly different. Playing with the children, running around outside in the garden with them for half an hour, that sort of thing. Like, anything you can do to build small wins up to your goal, and that will help build your confidence and your motivation and your self-belief in yourself as well. Because if you can get consistent with that, just think about how that makes you feel. Like, if you can consistently walk around the park 3 times every day, makes you feel like, okay, I can maybe run in that time. At the same time, I can start jogging. If you can do that, maybe you can do a full workout 3 times a week rather than a walk every day kind of thing. What is realistic to you? And that's the way I would start building up that momentum, because we were talking about action and that how building momentum through taking action can lead to you being motivated, and which is what the whole original point of the podcast was. How do you get motivated? So, like, building up to be motivated is building up that momentum to become motivated is done through that self-belief, building that self-belief. And I think the small wins, like you said, Nikhil, and having support around you is a good way to build that self-belief up.
Yeah. Well, it's just happened for you there, isn't it? So you started obviously by doing that walk, and you obviously reaped the rewards of it, and you thought, you know what, let me push it, go for the run, turned into 3 laps. So it's almost that loop happening again. It just motivated you more and more to keep going. So
yeah. And literally that was my workouts for 3 laps of the park and back to the car. It took me about, I don't know how long it took me, like 12 minutes every 3 times a week, because she went to nursery 3 times a week. That was my workout for about 2 to 3 weeks. So when I say I haven't worked out in like 4 weeks, for 2 of those weeks, probably that was my workouts.
Yeah.
It just wasn't like a proper workout.
Yeah. And like you say, something's better than nothing, isn't it? That was better than not doing any form of exercise or activity at all, really.
Yeah. And that built my self-belief to go for a run today. So today I did a proper run for a full workout, and knowing that I can do 3 minutes in the park, or 3 laps in the park, just meant that I felt confident doing a 5k run. But if I'd gone in cold from the last 4 weeks, like not doing anything, then maybe my confidence level probably would have been like, oh, is this gonna be hard? I would have struggled to get started. Maybe not even done it.
Yeah. And that you'd already have that self-doubt, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Before we wrap up, I thought it would be good to share what are some things that you guys lack. Sadie's mentioned about maths, but what are some things that you guys really lack self-belief in, or in the past have lacked self-belief in? Probably a bit more of an inspiring story, and then overcome.
I think another one with me is I used to not, well, again, this is the confidence thing, but with what I do as my job and everything, I used to be very kind of insecure and wouldn't have the confidence in myself that I was good enough to do what I do, especially right at the beginning of my career when I first got into fitness. I definitely lacked confidence in myself. That has definitely improved over time, obviously, and as I've kind of gained knowledge and whatever. But along with the kind of speaking out and doing those things, like I have a fear of doing Facebook Lives. Like, don't ever make me do one, because
no, I'm gonna make you do one now.
I literally have that fear of, like, because you can't kind of like be prepared really, like for a Facebook Live, you just have to kind of go for it. And yeah, like that's one thing that I really lack confidence in, and I don't have any kind of self-belief in myself to kind of just get on and do a Facebook Live. And Nikhil, you've done quite a lot of them now, I'm sure, with Bad and stuff, haven't you?
Yeah.
How do you find them, like
I was
twice a week?
I was exactly the same, and my like anything to do with cameras and stuff like that. And again with the profession that we're in as well, I often get am I good enough like to do this? Like, because still to this day, like, not that there is a look for an average personal trainer. Like, of course, like, you know, I sometimes have those thoughts. Like what do people care what I think or what I've got to say? So I often get those thoughts. But the most recent one where I had a real sort of confidence knock was when we had to record those on-demand sessions. I just overthought overplayed it so much. So I spent one whole day, like what should have taken sort of 40 minutes to record in total. I mean, I spent one whole evening, a good 3 hours, deleted all of those videos because I hated them. Then I messaged Vinny in the morning saying, I've just spent the whole morning trying to record. They're just turning out really rubbish.
Is that I don't think I can do this
because I've been through the workout so much and like continuously doing it. I was dripping with sweat and everything, and nerves on top of it. And I messaged him. I was like, I don't think I can do this. This is not me. Like, seriously, do I have to do it? And then I don't know. We had a quick chat, and I was just like, if I don't do this, if you don't hear from me by 12, then that means I don't know what I said. It just means I'm an idiot or something like that, and I'll do it.
Yeah, I literally just sent him a message saying you're such. I was probably quite rude. I was like, oh, you're such a pea. And I was like, oh, like, why are you being so stupid? Like, I literally I think I told him to F off, and I was like, you're being so dumb. I was like, what do you do every day when you're training people? It's just pretend like you're talking to someone like that. And I said, where you mess up, don't start again. Just like literally, I can do it, sort it out in the editing.
I think
I did that as well.
Yeah, one of them. I stopped and I was like, dude, just delete this bit, by the way. Or
you were like, you went, oh, F, and then you were like, oh, like, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll just take that bit off. And there was one bit in Sadie's as well I had to take off because you messed up I think the timing.
Yeah.
You said like 3, 2, and then I was like, oh no, like
it wasn't
timer
even in
that
sync
I've
or
got on
something.
and I was like, what the? So I had to literally just cut out a bit of her talking, and then make it 3, 2, 1, and the timing was right. But like things like that can be sorted out post edit and stuff. But,
Nico, with you, after you've done the like on-demand sessions, now like doing it again, do you feel like you've got that confidence to do it now that you've done
definitely. It was, again, a lot of it was the hype in my head, like getting around to actually doing it. It was like this thing that I'd built up in my head, like, oh my God, like I'm not going to be able to do it. It's not going to be good. Like, what if I make a mistake? Like, what if like I don't say the right thing? People are going to just play it back over and over and over. They'll pick up. Like, it was all of those sort of things. But then you do it. Did the first one, 20 minutes, and I was just like, okay. And then the second one, I think I pretty much did it in one take. Like,
yeah.
So
I think that there is like, it's the same sort of thing as like someone starting something new and getting that motivation. It's always like how you build it up in your head is always the worst. Once you do it once and you try it, it's actually, you realize, okay, it's not so bad. And then that's when you do it again and you're okay to do it again. Do you know what I mean? So
your mind is literally like it's something that plays so many games on you, isn't it? Like, I always tell people, stop thinking and just take action. Like, stop listening to your own voice and just take the step, and that voice will disappear. The build up is often worse than the actual thing. And then I think the other thing that helped Nikhil was the positive feedback afterwards. That's probably made you feel more confident about it now, isn't it? So we had so much positive feedback about those sessions. So let's just pause the podcast. What I want you to do right now is go over to www.bodybeyond.co.uk/free-workout and check out those sessions, on-demand sessions by Sadie and Nikhil, and then let us know what you think. Email us at podcast@bodybeyond.co.uk, or to get those podcasts, you'll get an email from me. So, I mean, to get those, on-demand sessions, you'll get an email from me. So you can just reply to that email. But yeah, check that out and let us know what you think, because I think Nikhil needs some more positive feedback from those sessions to help build him up even more. I think that's one of those biggest things is like that positive feedback and having that support, and like that's the only thing that really builds self-belief, isn't it? And helps you overcome. Like, definitely. What made you become a really good trainer is seeing that you can get results. Do you get what I mean? That positive feedback, and then that feedback from other people, and then people telling you you're actually good at your job and that sort of thing.
Vinay, for you, is there anything that you have that, obviously, like when you asked us about not the confidence thing, like anything that you have that you struggled with in the past, but you know, now you can kind of you've worked on that?
Yeah, loads of things. Like I still get it all the time now. Like, you know, you have your own insecurities about certain things of like the way you look or what other people may think of you. Like, so I used to get it a lot when I used to go to fitness events of, you know, self-development stuff for like personal trainers. So going there was quite a daunting task for me because of other trainers. So like we in our industry, it's very male dominant. Most trainers are lots of males. I know now there's a lot more females, but sorry, daughter's screaming. But there is a lot of like males who look a certain way as well. So big tall guys, usually Caucasian. They are built. They look like cover models. They're really, you know, muscular and things like that. And then there's this short Asian guy who comes in, is relatively slim. Maybe even at that stage I was slightly chubby. So you almost like build up this thing like you're not meant to be there. This is not where you belong. And it can like that's probably somewhere that I really lacked a lot of self-confidence. But I still went because I knew what I was trying to get to. I had a strong reason for going. I was trying to like overcome that fear. But yeah, it was difficult. I think I shared the story with my partner only, but I'm going to do it on the podcast now. Literally, I went to one event that was probably the most life-changing for what we do now, and it led to basically creating the FLC. It was an Alan Aragon event. He gave like a nutrition talk, and you know he gave a speech at the end about like his career and how he got into and just following your dreams and going after it. And I found it really inspiring. But that event, I went to the toilet in between, and I went in and I was shocked by how many dudes were in the toilet. Like it was literally like packed with like basically jacked, big, huge personal trainers who are in the toilet. And I was like, oh my goodness, like what the hell? I didn't expect to open the door and see so many people in a loo. And I went to urinal and it was like literally one free, and I'm someone who likes to leave a space in between, so you get no spray and no one can see your penis. Anyway, I went there to pee. I was dying for a pee and nothing would come out. Literally, I had stage fright. I was like, what the hell? Like, I stood there for ages and nothing would come out. Oh, and only when everyone left, like literally slowly, people started to disappear. And I could go to the toilet. It was a strange thing. Like, it was so weird. But yeah, that's probably one of those things that I've like, maybe a bit too much information for someone listening. But yeah, as confident as I may seem on camera and doing that now, like those are the biggest things. And I think what happened was early on in my career, I think it was probably less than a year into, I think my daughter's trying to get on the podcast, so yeah, less than a year on into the industry of being a personal trainer, I had someone comment something on a website, on my website, anonymously, and they wrote some pretty horrible stuff. They were like, oh, how can you be a personal trainer? You're not aesthetic in any way. So meaning that I'm not appealing, like looking, my body doesn't look good or whatever in any way. So how can I help other people? That's what they wrote. And then I didn't reply, obviously, I didn't bite. And then I think it was like 2 weeks later, they went, answer me, you fat cunt.
My god.
I can't believe this is the first time you're hearing this. I've made a video about it before.
I think you have said it before, you know.
I think I've seen the comments actually. Yeah, I think you posted the video, the comments on the video as well, right?
I don't know, I can't remember. The website doesn't exist anymore, so I don't know if I could be able. Maybe I'd be able to find it.
I didn't know that second part. Yeah, that second part I wasn't aware of. I knew that obviously someone had commented on the website, but I didn't know. Yeah, so
I think that led to a lot of like confidence issues going through my careers, trying to become a good personal trainer. But it also pushed me to be a good personal trainer.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
What I lacked in maybe the way I look, in terms of like, you know, like someone looking at me and going, oh, he knows what he's talking about. I tried to make up in knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it was a blessing in disguise. But yeah, that's my story. But yeah, if we can overcome our own things, I know you guys listening to this can definitely build self believe and build that momentum and like continue. Just take on board the things that you said today. You know, like celebrate those small wins, create small wins to build like your own personal confidence, get success early on, have that support around you, have people who, you know, are in your corner, and build momentum through action. And then, you know, that will help you create more motivation, especially if you've already got your why down, like your reason for doing this. If you've already got like, you know, what you're trying to achieve down. If you don't have those two, go back to that bit. Start with what you're trying to achieve, why you're trying to achieve it, and then the rest of the stuff we've talked about today. Otherwise, we will guys catch you on the next episode. Is there any final words that you guys want to leave with?
No, just goodbye.
We will
thanks for
see you next week.
No, Nikhil, what did you just say?
I said no, goodbye and thanks for listening.
Ah, okay. I think we're going to give some kind of like nice, inspiring message at the end.
I'll think of one for next one. I'll think of one for next time.
I was going to say, we normally leave that to Vinay, innit, Nikhil?
Yeah.
Alright, guys. You heard it. You can do this. Alright. And we will catch you on the next episode. Over and out.